Hi, it's Mark Murphy with TravelTube.com. This week I have a supplier that many of you travel agents use, but a lot of you still don't use. It's known as Travefy at Travefy.com. And I've got a little insight because way back in the day when I owned Travel Alliance Media, which is TravelPulse.com, Agent Studio, a whole bunch of other products, I connected with David Chait, the founder of Travefy.com, and we integrated his solution into a website builder. Now, fast forward, I am amazed at the transformation of this company, and I'm bringing David to the stage so he can share some of the latest insights and some of the latest innovations that he has come up with, which to me are must-haves for every travel agency owner out there. Now, before I bring David to the stage, remember, I do this to support travel agents. So if you're a travel agent, travel advisor, whatever you want to call yourself, follow TravelTube.com by opting into our newsletter. Follow us on your favorite podcast app. Actually, follow us on all the podcast apps. Follow us on all the social media apps and support those who support you. Or get out of town with no transportation. All right, enough of that. David, come on up. There he is.
Hey, Mark. Good to see you.
Great. Well, first, let me just say congratulations on your success. I know when you started this business and what a bear it is to build a business, especially when it comes to travel agents paying money. They're not exactly the richest people out there, and every dollar counts. But you are now up to what, 30,000?
Over 40,000. Over 40,000 brands on our platform. Yeah.
Congratulations. So tell me just very briefly the history of Travefy. It started with an itinerary builder, if I'm correct, and you've added a bunch since then.
Yeah, the journey, and this from your own entrepreneurial experiences, it's really about learning and listening to your users in there. And so, the original Travefy journey, started back when I was in business school and really just building software for the needs that I was having at that time in my life, along with the rest of the founding team. And so at that time was a lot of traveling with friends, a lot of my wife and I were engaged at the time, bachelorette parties. And so we built collaboration tools, really just to help us with our travel, put it out to the market, no real dollars, no real pieces, just to learn. And what we found was this really, really heavy travel advisor segment leveraging these tools for ways to help drive their communication needs. As you know, so much of the industry incorrectly was left behind from a technology standpoint. And so we saw a great adoption there. We saw so many great needs. And the more I dug into the industry, it was an industry I fell in love with. To your point on kind of the introduction, one of the things I love about our industry is it's built on the backs of small businesses and solopreneurs. These are people that are building dreams when you think about vacations and travel, and they're building it one piece and step at a time. And so for us to find a way that we can support those businesses and really be impactful in helping them grow is rocket fuel and inspiring. And so with that, we started absolutely on that itinerary and trip delivery side. And based off of the needs, based off of industry trends, have grown to include everything from world-class client experiences, from itineraries, proposals, document delivery, to robust client and contact management, CRM, payments, and more, to full back office, everything from reconciliation on commissions and beyond. And so just thrilled to have the opportunity to help these businesses grow, whether you're an agency of one or an agency of 10,000. And we love it.
Yeah, that's great. I love entrepreneurs because you take the risk, or in your case, you did take a risk, but in your case, you started to solve a problem. And when I started my company, it was the first thing we came up with didn't work. So we pivoted, which happens a lot. And I was like, I've built a media business in the past. And my insight was all these print weeklies were delivering news a week, sometimes 10 days after the news happened. And they were restricting the information they put on their websites. And I didn't know how I was going to make money. I just wanted to solve the problem. So we created Travel Pulse. And then all of a sudden, within, I don't even know how quickly, it became the largest news site in the world for travel. And that led to all these other product launches. And the idea is, once you've got them on the itinerary planner for Travefy, now they're going to some third party to do CRM. Why is it important to bring those things together other than they have to go log into another system? What is that integration and why is that critical?
Yeah, I mean, for us, I think that's the perfect question. And everything we develop, we think about in two distinct ways. The first one is in and of itself, is it a 10x better tool? So when you think about individual pieces of the CRM, again, payments and PCI compliant credit card authorizations, our website and marketing tools. But even with that standard, where the secret sauce comes from is that interconnectivity of your data and really the incredible flows that things have from having it all on one really operating platform as a way to think about it. And so we can unlock insights for you. We can ensure a quality and continuity of your data and flows that ultimately translate into risk mitigation for you, but more than anything, unlocking incredible efficiencies. And at the end of the day, when you're a small business and a solopreneur, your biggest barrier to growth is 24 hours in a day. So anything we can do that gives you back any of that time, that is how you grow and scale your business.
Now, are people buying these components individually or are they buying it as a single solution?
We are one size fits all in the sense of we don't sell modules individually. We give you access to everything. And that comes from years of working with advisors of we don't want to wall things off because we want you to unlock really all of the magic that comes from within all of that. And so you get true access to everything with just your single license.
That's great. Now, one of the things I wanted to ask about was your partnerships. So you have this big partnership with Travel Leaders. It's the largest agency network out there, known as a consortia for folks who don't know what that is. It's basically where you herd all the agencies together, you put them under an umbrella, you negotiate special deals with third parties like Travefy, because most of what they bring to the table are those relationships and those tools like Travefy. How important are those types of relationships to the growth of your business?
Yeah, well, so I think of it in a couple ways. Is we have the privilege of working with both large and small. All of the major consortia, Travel Leaders, Virtuoso, Signature, Ensemble. Actually, our team was crisscrossing the country this week for so many of their events going on. And it's important in a couple ways. One, as you mentioned, of course, when you work with an organization, it provides you the ability to reach more of the incredible advisors and agencies that they're a part of. And as a business operator, that's really important. But for me, where the magic really comes from, because again, everything to me, what really excites me and gets my juices flowing, as you can probably tell, is about ways that we can actually help businesses capture those efficiencies, grow, and really scale. And so what's really fun when we work with all of these consortia is we can do integrations with them and some of the required reporting that they have. Because again, member agencies very often have required reporting, whether it's part of their marketing programs and pieces there. And our robust backend, our APIs and integrations that we do with these consortia, like one that was actually announced TLN at the Edge conference earlier this week, we can have that all happen automatically. So if you are an agency associated or an advisor associated, rather than these manual processes, we can actually do them automatically for you. And that to me is actually one of the most pivotal benefits that we get in these incredible partnerships. And of course, yes, that builds a moat around a product, but to me, it's even less about the business case than about we again are helping these agencies and these solopreneurs grow their business. And that's cool.
No doubt. So I found it interesting when I was doing what I did that the industry is so fragmented. And sometimes some of these players that have like large host agencies, they'll use a really bad third-party product, even if there's a better solution out there for any number of reasons. Is it the margin that they're getting from that less robust product than what you offer or what I offered back in the day? And I'll just give you one example. The head of one host agency, I won't name her name, but she heard my pitch on what we were doing. And she said, "Oh my God, this is unbelievable. I've never seen anything like this. This is incredible what you've accomplished, yada, yada, yada," right? A lot of platitudes. And then I said, So your contract's coming up in like 8 months. What do we do to start moving your agents to this platform versus the one you're on? And the answer was, oh, well, I can't leave them. I've been with them for 10 years and, I've been on their board and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, but hold on, you just told me it's the greatest thing you've ever seen, yet you're not making a move. Like, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with some of these really lousy third parties where they basically charge $30 a month, $50 a month, whatever, and they're like, yeah, we'll give you a website, but it's basically a crappy WordPress website, like, or a lousy CRM. Oh, how do you overcome that?
Yeah, well, I think of it in a couple different ways on things, and for us and for me, it's even when you think about all the different types of software and pieces out there, it's not even a question of quality, good or bad or things there, because we really love and respect everyone in the ecosystem. I think in general, it's about optimization for what someone is looking for. And I think to your point, there are many that are optimized purely on a price point. And that is actually okay. That is a real market position. Others are optimized for robustness of platform and some of those outcomes that you get from those different flows and integrations and things there. And, for us, it really comes down to, number one, having the intestinal fortitude that we know where we sit in the market, of the amount that we invest in product, in growing it, and really, again, helping agencies and advisors unlock. We're comfortable with that's not going to be right for everyone. That might be more chasing a price point. But that's okay. I think the second part that comes to when someone has worked with someone for a very long time, and life is relationships. But I think a lot of that also comes down to when you have a history of data living in a system, migration becomes a really important question. And so for us, that's where we've also made sure that we invest very, very significantly in tools that make that a seamless transition to the Travefy platform. A combination of our robust APIs, AI-driven imports, as well as our world-class client experience team, that there's never a friction as it relates to data mobility. And that's really important. And that's also a philosophical thing, having nothing to do with even just that piece where, as I'm talking about there, that's about flowing into Travefy. But I also feel that way about flowing out of Travefy in those instances where that may be the case. It's rare, but of course it happens. I believe that as the operator of a business, an agency, an advisor, having your data flow is so important. And it's why we philosophically integrate with everybody. And we really think of ourselves as a tool that's standalone. You can run your entire business. I also know that everyone has their own take on things, their own stacks that they build. And we want to make sure that we work in whatever your stack may be. And so I think that's the two sides of it. It's where's your utility? Is it about price? Is it about depth of product? And then second is making sure that data is portable and making sure that moving to a platform is simple and easy, that it's a frictionless process.
Yeah, because you hear the term integration, right? And I remember doing a lot of different integrations, and over time,
Yeah.
The tech bros, some of the folks that we might work with, they're like, oh yeah, it'll take 6 months. Well, just multiply that times 3. And it sounds like you've set yours up so that it's less of the heavy lifting on their end, and it's more of like a plug and play. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah. So we operate every way from, we have robust APIs that anyone can build off of. And we have lots of, there's a cottage industry of developers that build on those APIs. We also do integrations ourselves directly with any technology partners. But we've also, again, as you noted, invested in simple CSV uploads, imports, exports, AI-driven smart imports that do that. So depending on where you are in your technology capabilities, you're able to engage at that level and really manage all of those flows and really unlock a lot of that. And I think that's important. It's important to meet people where they are. And one of the things that I love about our industry is no two advisors, no two agencies are the same. And so we want to make sure we've adapted to that and adapted to our changing industry. And our industry, as you know, I mean, you've been through so many different chapters of our industry. It is always changing day to day, and that's exciting. And so you have to adapt to it.
No doubt. Now, you mentioned AI. That's the main buzzword these days. Everyone's AI, AI, AI. Explain how AI facilitates your model when it gets in the hands of the agents?
Yeah, super important. And I think taking a step back, AI is table stakes. Right now, when you think about it for your business, it's not something to be afraid of, but it's something that can help you again unlock those efficiencies, unlock those time savings that allow you to invest in your business. And more than anything else, if you're not doing it, everyone else is, and so you're kind of behind. For us, how we implement AI is something that we really have hit pause on to be as thoughtful as possible. I think you see a lot of implementations where people are taking, if you think about the chat box, the AI chat box that exists, whether it's ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, and they're putting it in a system. That's just removing a click on something. That's not there. For us, it's about really thoughtful implementation within the processes that we have. Where are their current bottlenecks or time being spent, and how can we solve for that? And so I'll give you a prime example. When you think about our kind of mid and back office tools, agency level reconciliations for commissions, which is so important. There is nothing more important than how an advisor in an agency gets paid. And with all of those supplier statements, that process is very time intensive and also has a lot of surface area for potential incorrect typing pieces there and getting that wrong. Well, we invested in building a really smart AI driven import and reconciliation process where you can take those supplier statements. We will do all of the automation on the reading, the matching, the pairing, and the reconciling for you to, of course, review and validate. But we've taken a process that is over 190 hours a year and literally made it seconds. That's the example of how AI can be truly explosive for an agency or an advisor because it's taking that place where you're investing time and time that's not the secret sauce of what you do. And not only giving that time back, but frankly, removing places where we've seen a lot of human error too. So that's just an example of how we think about really purposeful implementation.
So on the reconciliation, one of the frustrations I think over the years is when you have an individual independent travel agent who's booking through a host agency, they book through a host agency, and then they have to go in and enter their booking, right, manually, so that they can, excuse me, be in the queue to get paid. And then they have to keep following up. And then the host agency gets paid, and ultimately they're supposed to get their cut of whatever their split commission is. How does your model fix that issue? Does it automatically record it and then it gets into the flow?
Yeah. So where I was talking was on the back end of the reconciliations, but on the front end, when you think about getting those bookings in, and again, part of, it's one of your early questions is what is Travefy's secret sauce? And a lot of it isn't even that each of these individual modules are, again, that 10x better sort of barrier and standard we hold ourselves to. But if you think about something that's on a proposal, something that's on an itinerary, something that is then on an invoice, and then ultimately on a commission, we actually have all of that booking object mapped throughout so that it flows. And so for me as an advisor at any point, number one, I can leverage either standardized integrations, true APIs, or similar type of smart import, AI driven, to get that information in, and it flows throughout. So those commission splits, that marking, all of that from the advisor side is also automatically happening. And I can convert something that might be an event, which is just our nomenclature on an itinerary, to an invoice, to an actual track commission. And it actually will have saved those splits and different things there. And of course I can override if there's something unique going on in that individualized booking itself.
Got it. Now, if I'm a new agent in the industry and I want to get started and I want to learn how this tool works, where would I go to do that?
Yeah. I would say number one, you just go to our website. You can get started with a free trial. We also have really, really robust trainings that you can join, one-on-one sessions, also our academy where you can have self-guided. Again, going to the meet you where you are, we want to make sure that you have access to all of this information. But I'd say there's nothing better than just jumping in. And again, if you jump in and start that trial, our team is there to help you every step of the way get set up. We are so invested in the success of our industry, which means we're so invested in the success of you. And we're here to help you jump in. And no matter where you are in your journey, and this is what really excites me, we're here to help you grow. And whether it's that brand new advisor and you're just looking to build your book of business, our marketing tools can help you actually grow that, get started with a strong foundation. Or if you're that successful agency looking to scale, we have that time and tested true platform that can help you go from A to B. And I love that.
Yeah. So as far as training, I saw that YouTube that I just showed, you got a great YouTube channel that has tons of opportunities for folks to take a look and go through different modules. Obviously, you also have that content on your website.
Yeah.
So on the YouTube channel, what kind of activity do you see there? Just random people showing up and being like, "Oh, this is pretty cool." Does that kind of get people interested because they realize that there's no place to hang a shingle anymore? Most agents work from home. We don't know where they exist, right? So when you just mentioned marketing, what are some of the tools that they can use to build their business and find new customers or get referrals? Are there tools that help them do that as part of your platform?
Yeah. So even beyond just pure education, where we make sure we run a lot of things to just help you learn how to build and grow your business within the Travefy platform itself, from our and I know you know this part of the market very well, from our website and landing page builder, where again we can help you actually set up that shingle. We actually can help you build those specific marketing pages that are very versatile, that are also socially graph optimized for all of the social networks for sharing and building out that way. To our forms for lead capture, we really help you build there. Additionally, our email, where you can integrate your email client and build up, we do have email marketing coming out. So again, all of these different tools that can help you really grow that front door for you. But ultimately, what we also want to make sure we're doing is teaching you a lot of best practices in there. And so that's where our Travefy Academy also really becomes a part of that partnership, where it's not just about leveraging the software, but we want to make sure that you understand a lot of those sales skills, those outreach skills. And so that's where our annual sales workshop conference and other things come into place as well.
Got it. And as far as looking at the marketplace and understanding your business, what are the biggest objections you get from a travel agent that's checking you out for the first time? What do they tell you? Like, oh, it's too expensive. It's too this. It's that. I can't figure it out. What do they tell you?
Yeah, I mean, so obviously you hear a broad array of things, but I think one of the biggest things, and I can understand this in the busyness of day-to-day life, is that we'll very often hear from someone that I need to wait until I have the time to invest. It's whether it's I'm here in my journey and I'm getting started and I'm busy doing A, B, and C, and so I want to wait until I have more time to invest. And additionally, in other pieces there, even if you're later. And for me, what I would say more than anything is it's really hard to hit pause for a moment. But there is nothing greater that you can do, whether it's Travefy or even other tools out there. Obviously, I'm a Travefy evangelist, but there's lots of software, lots of partners. Take the time to invest in your business. You will not regret it. And the compounding that you get from that is incredible. Additionally, as with anything, you just need to start somewhere. What is one process that you are finding yourself bottlenecking? You're spending a lot of time that you shouldn't. Jump into Travefy and automate that. Jump into Travefy and put a solution against that. You've now unlocked time and continue that escalating commitment.
Now, since you package up all these items from the CRM, everything, back office, you name it, what would they have to buy individually to match what you're offering? How many companies would they have to work with to do that, which is a massive time waster, as we all know?
I'd have to run the things, but there's easily 10 logins, 10 different subscriptions in there. And so from a time and from a cost standpoint, it's an absolute no-brainer. But again, it's also where, as I said, while everything is contained, we also provide that flexibility for your stack and the integrations we do, because no two agencies are alike. And so it's giving you that freedom of choice while also giving you all of the different tools and structures that you need and can have to run your business.
Got it. Got it. Now, last question. These are all tools that you've built from the ground up to address the information and marketing and business needs of the agency community. Why didn't you go out and buy some third parties and try to integrate those in, like on the M&A side, versus looking at it and going, I'm just going to build it myself? Did you feel like they weren't going to be able to meet the needs, even if you modified them?
Exactly. That's what it comes down to. Is there's a lot of, shortcuts you can take. Shortcuts in licensing someone else's software, shortcuts in M&A type of activities there. But ultimately, the standard that we hold ourselves to, which is that flow of data, that seamless integration and efficiencies that agencies and advisors can unlock, you'll spend all of your time retrofitting something to make it okay. And so for us, our commitment and the standards we hold ourselves to say, can we build this better? And by the way, if it's something that we can't, those are things that we're not going to do. But if we can, then we're going to build it from the ground up so that it is optimized for the way agencies operate, it's optimized for the way advisors operate, and it's optimized for flowing in a way that gives you all of that value unlocked. But as you noted, that's a decision that businesses have to make. And there are lots of reasons for or against one way or another. But I think for us, that compass has been very, very strong and is one that has served us very, very well.
Well, you've done exceptionally well. I saw Inc. 5000 3 years in a row, which makes you one of the fastest growing privately held companies in the United States. I think we did 3 years in a row. And then we did another company. And then because we had the financial crisis, and then we got back on. So I think we were like 5 out of 6 years in
for
total.
you.
So that was great. That was great. But I commend you on your success. I've watched it over the years, even when
it's been fun over the years. Yeah.
Well, you've done an awesome job. I'm really thrilled with all your success. So travel advisors out there, 14 years now. Is that how long you've been at it? 14 years. They're not going anywhere. In my opinion, you've got the best solution out there. And all the things you've added have been remarkable. So I will say, job well done. Congratulations. And thank you so much for sharing all this on Traveltube.com.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it.
Take care, David. All right. David Chait with Travefy.com. They are knocking it out of the park. If you haven't checked it out yet, please go visit their website, Travefy.com, Travefy.com. And I speak from somebody that actually used their technology and integrated it way back, like 12 years ago. We started with them, maybe even 13 years ago, when they were in their infancy. So remarkable growth. And that's what being an entrepreneur is all about, travel advisors. It's about meeting a need and delivering on that solution. And they've been doing it for a long time. So check them out if you haven't already. And if not, you're wasting time and you're wasting money. Appreciate you. Thanks for joining me today.